private sector through the commercial banks, right? We have also given tax holidays, tax deferrals to the private sector so that in these extremely difficult times, they could bring goods in. That is the magic why you have not seen the shortage of any essential commodity here. That's the same reason you find we have not had to grapple with astronomical increase in the prices of basic necessities because the supply chain remains intact, right? So anybody saying this government is not being private sector friendly, needs to be examined.
Yes. He says COVID is a blessing to the SFPP, suggesting that you are using it to mobilize revenue. How would you?
Well, this is the biggest single impediment to developments across the world. So it's unfortunate that that could come from anybody, right? President Bill, when he acceded to leadership in 2018, ensured that he was able to rebrand this country, reposition it so that we could get our fair share of foreign direct investment. It so happens that the trust he had built, the confidence he has developed in his country and his leadership is paid off during COVID times. I'm sure that is why Richard mistakes for blessings. This is investment in goodwill, in trust, in confidence, and in the kind of things we are doing right. For example, the whole world now knows this government is not turning a blind eye to corruption. We are fighting it with every muscle we can, which is why they have more trust now to deal with this administration. So that even in COVID times, you get a lot of the international development partners supporting Sierra Leone in one way or the other. And in the same COVID times, we have been able to pass the MCC Compact, which many administrations before us have labored for and could not get because their labor was in the wrong direction, right? We have been very precise on the things we need to do to keep this country moving. We just successfully emerged from negotiations with the Academic Staff Association of the publicly funded universities. The president has conceded to reviewing their terms and conditions, something they never did for the longest time, right? So you cannot say this is a lucky government. But for COVID, we could have done a lot more. Tourism had already picked up. We played host to one of the biggest events in sports. The Budapest rally terminated here, and the effects are all over. Tourist numbers were picking up, right? So, but for COVID, we could have been on the rise, but this has been rudely disrupted, right? There are a million things that were on course, but COVID disrupted. So it's very unfortunate that could come from somebody who has had an opportunity to serve our country before.
He says the only thing positive that he could point out from your administration is the fact that you guys are getting bloated, suggesting that you are making a lot from the natural resources at the expense of making sure you don't.
Well, I will not dignify that with a response. Virtually everybody I know in this administration had a career before we got into government, right? For us, national service is something we pride ourselves in. And when we are in government, we make sure we do what is very best to move our people forward. We do not widen, the gap between house and have-nots like they did, right? Because ours is a call to national service. So I will not further dignify that.
Except you want to throw in something positive again that might be useful for.
Well, for anybody to say this government has not done much, we understand the baseline we inherited from them was so abysmally low that it takes a very sound mind to see the progress that we have made thus far. Talk about the repeal of the criminal libel. Their administration came to power on the back of repealing the criminal libel law, right? They were all motion, no movement. They didn't do anything about it. It took somebody who has been the most vilified, the most castigated, and the most libeled to muster the courage, the bravery and temerity to repeal the criminal libel. So that, if that for him is nothing, I wonder what else is for him. The gender empowerment law has been passed, something they never did. The anti-corruption law has been toughened, and we have done more recoveries in 3 years than all of the years since the Anti-Corruption Commission was set up. The list goes on. right? I mean, we inherited an economy that was virtually on life support, an economy where salaries were only paid for 2 years before, with recourse to with recourse to bank borrowing or overdrafts. We have been able to sanitize that. We have paid all public sector workers without recourse to bank lending and to overdrafts. These are all commendable moves, right? So we have been able to resuscitate the economy. It's now on the path of growth, but for the growth disruption of COVID, we could have been on the move. But even during these times, our management of COVID has attracted the attention and commendation of the whole world. The United States CDC rates us as one of the safest countries to visit. The African CDC has done the same. This is because President Bio is doing all the right things to make this country attractive, to an extent that even the United States alludes to us for our good leadership of managing the pandemic. But as far as the APC is concerned, nothing good can come from this government. You know, that's a bad thing.
He says he's the next president.
Well, you know, we have various presidents. I have also seen presidents of, the Herbalist Association. I have seen president of Gamblers Association. I've seen all kinds of presidents. It's possible he might choose one of those little niches to be president. President Bio is the next president. He's going to be resoundingly voted on the first ballot to stay on seat, to continue the good work he's doing for our country.
Thank you, Zee. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Please, you made mention about the ASA, that you've just concluded the meeting with the ASA.
Yeah,
you consider it as a breaking news. Can you go further with it, sir?
Yes, they themselves did say so, that they choose their industrial action because you have a listening government in town. You have a government that prides herself as a government for human capital development, so they could not have struck at a better time. So on top of the 25% that was already in the offering for them,
Okay.
Which will be paid this month, I think, which will be paid in April.
Okay.
Yeah, another 25% will be included in the budget for them in January 2022. So in total, they have 75%.
75%.
Right? Yes, because we believe that the tertiary education, the Academic Staff Association are the people who invest in training teachers, medical doctors, and all kinds of professionals who impact the rest of society. You know, I just read on somebody's t-shirt on my way here, if you can read this, thank a teacher. So from then, knowledge flow to the rest of society. So the president acknowledges that, and he did say so, that if we want our human capital development agenda to succeed, we have to invest in tertiary education, and that is why we have been able to bend over backwards to accommodate them. Okay. And they are quite happy because they are also mindful of the challenging times brought on by Corona, and they appreciate government's show of concern, support, and commitment in these difficult times. They have promised to return to work starting tomorrow. Some have even said they will return to work today.
Okay, so the only percent that we are craving for will not be meant except the 45%.
Well, these were proposals. This was a negotiation. In negotiations, you give an